Do you think that retailers were holding back in any sort of way, either promotionally or the array of goods offered on Black Friday because of supply chain issues, the fear that it won't have the inventory to meet demand?
That could be a piece of it. As I look at this data, and we spent the weekend really digesting a number of the reports that you mentioned, Melissa, coming out. And look, this was Black Friday for years, we talked about in your shows, has shifted. It's lost its relevance. I think Black Friday 2021 was extraordinarily disruptive, for a number of factors. Supply chain, as you mentioned, was one of them. And I think, look, the chatter, everywhere about supply chain disruptions likely caused shoppers to shop even earlier, earlier in November, potentially October. So, that may have shifted some sales away from the Black Friday holiday. I spent a lot of time with my kids on Friday in the mall. What I saw, it was interesting. The mall I went to was crowded. But one factor I noticed a lot was there was no price promotions. I've been doing this for a while, and so I think that may have also been the lack of price promotions on Black Friday may have also been a contributor to what we're seeing as very weak sales on the holiday.
Yeah, I read that you were at Roosevelt Field Mall, which is the mall that I went to growing up out on Long Island.
And my wife.
So brought back memories, that's for sure. But Brian, in theory, the argument is that traffic doesn't matter, but if consumers are actually buying goods at a fuller price, it's actually better for retailers' margins. So where do you come away on that argument in terms of that push-pull?
Well, look, that's definitely true. And as we get clearer data, I think we'll see that as a trend. Again, if we're looking at what we kind of learned over the last few days, sales were weaker, likely weaker than expected, but the offset, like you're saying, will be higher margins or profitability for these retailers because there's just not as many price promotions. I think the big question, though, is kind of where do we go from here? So we'll get today's Cyber Monday, as you've been discussing. We'll get data, on that over the next, several hours or day or so. So that'll give us another piece of the puzzle. But look, it seems to me, I think, there's another big factor behind all of this. And we've been talking a lot about this with our clients is that, as the COVID crisis is abating, I think spending is shifting back towards experiences away from goods. And I think that's also a factor what we're seeing. And that could continue to play out here through the holiday season. And maybe what we saw on Black Friday was just another indication or maybe an early indication of that dynamic.
Well, I guess you've got a juicing up of travel, at least insofar as we stay free of this Omicron development. People have been talking about the death of athleisure for a long time, but it seems like your three picks are right in the sweet spot of athleisure. Why do you like it, and why do you like those three, Nike, Lulu, and Under Armour?
Sure. So, the death of athleisure, I think, has been way overblown. And I was saying that prior to the COVID crisis, is we look at how the consumer has potentially shifted through the crisis. I think, coming out now, people are dressing even more casual. Mm-hmm. So that's an incremental positive, if you will, for names like Lululemon, Nike, and Under Armour, as people look for high quality but more comfortable, more casual clothing. Another big positive, and this is particularly for companies like Nike and Lululemon, is we're shopping more online. And these companies have very well built out, very powerful direct infrastructures. They're able to really connect with consumers directly. And I think that's another big positive for these brands as we think about kind of the direction of retail.
Mm-hmm.
But Tyler, to make your point, to help your point, I think that the idea that athleisure is dying has been way, way overblown.
Yeah, we were hearing that 3 or 4 years ago from some analysts.
Everybody wants to be comfortable all the time.
That's right. But yeah, they stood the test. Brian, thanks so much. We appreciate it. Brian Nagel.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Fantastic.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.